We have all experienced a moment when a shift occurred, something that stopped us in our tracks and created a moment that led us to change direction, experience an awakening, or brought us much needed clarity. Tell me a story or empowering and impactful stories that changed everything. Join our host, Karina Felix, as she creates space for you to tell your story. And now, your host, Karina Felix.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Tell Me a Story, the place to come and be inspired by our guests as they show up today. And today we have Miss Laura Barker with us, and Laura is going to tell us her story. Laura, take it away.
Thanks, Karina. It's my absolute pleasure to be able to share some of my story with you. I have um, had a very interesting journey, and it's led me to some very important realizations that have helped me overcome really many challenges. I would dare say pretty much every challenge that I've faced. And it all starts with glasses. Now, you don't see me wearing glasses. I know you do see, I'll talk about this elephant in the room, the oxygen tube, as we go down the path, but it's really not relevant so much. The glasses that I'm talking about, though, are rose colored glasses. I have been accused all my life of wearing them. And I will be honest with you, I will never give them up. I learned early on that the only thing that we really have control of is how we choose to react to life. We don't get to choose all the things that happen to us in life. In fact, I dare say much of what happens is a surprise to a lot of us a lot of the time. Well, when I was in my 30s, I was diagnosed with a rare and very serious illness that really took me by surprise. And it really knocked those glasses flat off my face there for a little bit because I was somebody who always had an optimistic attitude, and I still do. When I was first diagnosed, though, and they told me I would be lucky to see 5 more years, that was a bit of a blow. Well, as you can imagine, I'm way past those 5 years. In fact, I'm well into my 50s now. So putting those rose colored glasses back on early on in that journey of regaining my health was critical to my survival. And here's how that works. So when someone says something negative, like you'll be lucky to see 5 years, you might let that spiral into depression, which will probably hasten those 5 years, right? But when you can say, no, I choose to look at life differently, then you can regain control of every moment of your life. So think about this. When you have something negative that happens and you do get to choose how to react to it. Sometimes it's hard to choose a positive or to see the silver lining, but there always is one. And you get better and better at finding it. For example, what I learned to do, and I do to this day, is focus on the present moment. Like, what is my life like at this very exact moment? Well, I can tell you that at any time during this illness that I have, battled with, been with for a long time now, um, at any given moment, and I look at my life, I'm pretty dang happy. Life is pretty good. I've got great family, great friends, a roof over my head, food to eat. I have very little to complain about when you look at it from that perspective. And sometimes it's hard to get that perspective, I'll admit. And I'm a big fan of a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza. And having his guidance kind of through these years has helped me to learn to focus on that present moment, and realizing that when I do that, I am able to always find the silver lining. And when I do that, guess what happens? My attitude is raised, right? My vibration is raised. I get to enjoy life again, regardless of what appears to be going on in my surroundings, right? And again, that can be a real challenge sometimes, right? So I mentioned the oxygen that I'm wearing because, well, it's here on my face, and you're probably wondering, well, gosh, I thought you were over this illness. Well, I am and I'm not. So I actually got COVID, and this is a lingering effect of it that I need some supplemental oxygen. But the good thing is that I don't even care, right? I mean, how blessed am I that I live in a time when the medical world can provide me with supplemental oxygen? I mean, imagine if they couldn't. I talk for a living. That's what I do. So I would be in a real mess if I didn't have enough air to fuel my voice, right? I wouldn't be able to share my story with you if it weren't for some supplemental oxygen right now. So I'm just thankful. And that's another trick to keeping these glasses on is being thankful. You always have something to be thankful for. Now, sometimes, as I mentioned, these glasses get knocked off, the ones I'm talking about, these rose colored glasses that I love so much and have carried with me my entire life. Well, they got knocked off last week in a big way. This is, in retrospect, very funny, but at the moment, of course, it wasn't, because that's kind of how funny stories develop. They aren't usually funny in the moment necessarily, but become very good later. So last week, I had to get surgery, routine surgery. Been putting it off for months. Not a big deal, nothing serious, right? But um, it turned out that it was the third time I was having the surgery done. It's a simple replacement of a small but necessary implant that resulted from that illness that I was mentioning earlier. So no big deal, right? That's what I thought anyway. Boy, was I wrong. So it's a 1 day surgery, supposed to be in and out. And like I said, this is my third time. I know what to expect, right? Wrong. I go in, and much to my surprise and disappointment, they did not sedate me. No, they're going to cut on my body, and they did not sedate me. I'm like, okay, the glasses are off at this point, right? I'm really trying to find a silver lining, but it's kind of hard. So they're off. Well, anyway, they do the procedure, and it took much longer than they anticipated for who knows why, but I was conscious the whole time. And what's funny about that term, conscious the whole time, is that when I go back to the Joe Dispenza training, basically when the glasses come off, that's when I quote go unconscious. What that means is I'm no longer paying attention consciously to what I'm thinking. So I'm letting the outside environment dictate my thoughts, which is exactly what was going on during this procedure and following, right? I had stopped intentionally directing my thinking, which led to more negative thinking, and then which led to more negative thinking. I don't know if any of you have experienced that, but if you notice, if you let a negative thought kind of take hold, it like spirals and mushrooms into this giant catastrophe of something that in hindsight really was a nothing burger, as they say. Well, I get home from the surgery, and I was actually feeling pretty good. Uh, you know, little did I realize at the moment it was because of the pain medication they'd given me. Well, that pain medication wore off, and oh my goodness, another surprise, right? I was in a tremendous amount of pain. Um, I could not move my arms, my hands, even to type. I didn't want to speak. Everything was hard. Everything was hard. And I really had those glasses not just knocked off, but like out of reach. I began to doubt everything in my life. I'm sure you guys have heard of imposter syndrome. So I've definitely suffered from that and really thought I had it licked, but boy, did it come back in a hurry. And it came back in the form of, I can't even run a business. I can't even function today. How can I possibly serve other people? And so on and so on and so on. And then coincidentally or not, and I don't really believe in coincidences, but it really wasn't related, I don't believe, and that is that my LinkedIn reach suddenly tanked. And that's important because I'm a LinkedIn coach. So that's not okay for me to not have a good representation on LinkedIn, right? Well, there were some algorithm issues. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because what we have to remember, and if we can put our glasses back on, if we can do that attitude adjustment, as I say, go conscious again about what we're allowing ourselves to think, then it doesn't matter what those quote numbers are, right? Because we know, you know, whatever your business is, you're doing the thing, you're doing the right thing. You have a down week, of course you do. We all do. So it's just a matter of, pushing through and seeing the positive again. Well, I ended up without my glasses, if you will, for almost a week, which is an intolerable amount of time when you're used to feeling positive and optimistic and keeping things going effortlessly. Finally, I got back in touch. I think it was really just because I'd hit kind of rock bottom, if you will, of my thought processes, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this is not acceptable, I don't like this, and guess what, I don't have to choose it. So what had happened is I had kind of just forgotten to choose when this quote unquote bad stuff happened, right? When I think back on that week, I think how lucky I was because it was a nothing surgery. I mean, yeah, there was a little pain, but you know what? That is hardly the end of the world, right? Because I'm also so blessed. I have a husband who is beyond amazing and is the best caregiver in the world. I have a dog who is an equally good caregiver. And I got more attention and more affection and what I need. I got exactly what I needed in the moment, every moment last week. And when I finally took a minute to realize I was wallowing in self pity, I immediately reached out and guess what my hands landed on? Those wonderful rose colored glasses. I cannot tell you how thankful I was to find those glasses again. They are firmly in place now, and I can assure you, I will not be letting them fall off again without realizing it. We're all going to get, knocked down, if you will. We're all going to have um, times when, life throws something at us that we just don't expect. But I want to encourage you, no matter what it is, take a step back, reach for your glasses, whatever that might look like for you. Put them firmly in place and take control of your attitude and your thoughts, and life will get so much easier. When you can understand that that really is a choice you have, choose again. You can always choose again. So if you find yourself in that negative spiral of thoughts that are not taking you anywhere good, maybe put some music on. Maybe you need something to disrupt that thought train. I don't know about for you, but I'm a big fan of Prince. And anytime I hear a Prince song, like my mood lifts. Y'all probably have a song like that for yourselves. Put that music on. Don't put on that music that makes you cry. No, that's not the good choice. So, again, whatever it takes for you to readjust your attitude, you will find that when you do, your entire life gets elevated along with your attitude. And that means that you are going to be able to serve people more efficiently. You are going to be a happier person. People will enjoy talking with you. You'll be able to share your knowledge with them. And for me, that's what it's all about, being able to share my knowledge with other folks so that their lives can improve. If I have anything to offer, I want to be able to give it. And that means not getting quagmired in negativity. So I focus on staying conscious, keeping my rose colored glasses on, no matter what appears to be going on around me, and keeping others uplifted by doing the same. I really hope that this is something that will resonate with you. I'll give you one last little example of kind of how that works when I do manage to keep my glasses on. Um, I was teaching a class a couple of weeks ago, and a tornado rolled through town. Not just through town, but like my neighborhood. Like I was teaching the class, and literally tornado going on around me. Here's how focused I was, and my glasses were on firmly. I just kept teaching because look, there was nothing I could do about it, right? So I chose how I was going to react to it, and my reaction was, I'm going to keep serving because I could, and it was beautiful. It was just a fantastic class and lots of participation and lots of fun. So I just can't stress enough. Choose your thoughts, choose your reactions, and live a fuller life as a result. And that's pretty much my story, and I am sticking to it.
Wow, that's excellent. And I was just texting my girlfriend because this morning, sometimes when I can't sleep at night, I put an audiobook in the background and I put YouTube. And something finishes and something else starts, and it's always Joe Dispenza. And I'm listening to him, and it's exactly what he says. It's like, you could be as healthy as you want, you can be as vegan and exercise and whatever. He goes, at the end of the day, if the mindset is not correct, you're not healthy. And healthy
That's right.
starts with you. And I love that you use your rose glasses. That's a great way to, the analogy was perfect. Because at first I'm like, I don't remember seeing you wear glasses. But then I went, okay. So,
If I'm smiling, they're on. Yeah.
and you said you've been on this journey for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And somehow you're always so upbeat. I mean, no one would think that you've been battling this for such a long time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And you know why? Because I don't focus on it. Why should I? Right? I get to choose how I react to these external forces, right?
That
And
is
my choice
that is
is,
exactly
and look at this moment, Karina. I'm here with you. We're having a great time. What is there to complain about? I mean, right?
right, right. I know because sometimes people are like, oh, aren't you sad about this and sad? And I'm like, why? I mean, if I'm going, once we understand the law of attraction, anything that's happening to you, you're creating it for yourself,
Absolutely.
no one else, right? So that's where you're saying by saying no, I'm going to put on my pink glass, and I'm just going to pretend I'm loved. It's
And you
great,
know, it's more than pretending, though. I mean, I understand why you're using that language,
right?
but it really is your
Use the
outlook.
wrong word.
It is how you approach life, right? It is how am I going to choose to react and to feel, because that's what we get to choose. That's it, right? So, but if you have that, what else do you need?
Exactly. And I think part of it is you live the life you want to live right now because there's no past and there's no future. So whatever you actually do want for the future, you could already live it now. Or else you're
Absolutely.
putting it off for the future. And we know the future never arrives. There's
That's
no
right.
such thing as
That's
the
right.
future. I know
We
it's
are
hard
so
to explain.
aligned, Karina. You and I love it.
I love that you came on today. And, like I said, one day I got inspired. My guides were like, why don't you do something where it's just about inspiration? Just let people tell stories because we all have stories. And as you know, being a magazine publisher, I get to read a lot of stories. And I'm always very impressed because we have an idea what we think people are. We don't know the truth. We don't know what's really going on in people's life. We should never make assumptions. And we should, like Nancy Matthews would say, be the one because you never know who needs you and when they need you.
Absolutely. And always give grace, right? Always give grace and benefit of a doubt to somebody else because
Yes,
we don't ever know.
yes. And always stay in gratitude. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much again, Laura. Oh my goodness, this was great. And we will
Thank
chat
you.
soon. Thank you
Absolutely.
again. Bye. And that was Laura Barker, and she told us her story. Very inspiring, very transformative. But wow, talk about uplifting and positive. Ah, thank you, Laura. That was excellent. And thank you all for tuning in and hope to see you in our next episode. See you soon.
Thank you for watching Tell me a story.